let's do a little bit of cooking today. And so what we're going to do, we're going to make my mother's deviled eggs recipe. And so this is a classic recipe. We obviously need a dozen eggs. So these are just standard jumbo eggs I buy from the grocery store. The first step, we need to basically boil the water. All right, so the first thing I want to do when boiling the water, we want to need a little teaspoon here. That's half a teaspoon, that'll do. So whenever we boil eggs and we boil water, we're going to add a little bit of salt. Why do we add salt to the water, right? Well, for one, that's one of the colligative properties of water. The salt actually helps the water boil. It actually raises the boiling point of the water, boiling point of elevation. And it also helps the eggs a little bit too. So it helps seal cracks in the eggs, and it kind of keeps the egg yolk inside. So I usually take, that's about half a teaspoon right there. We'll do a full teaspoon. There we go. So there's 2 full teaspoons. And there's our water. Next, we're going to add our eggs, because obviously we have to boil our eggs. So here we go. I'm going to do a full thing. I'm going to put these in kind of gently so they don't crack, because obviously we don't want to make a mess. There we go. Now, the deviled eggs will be half an egg. Ooh, this one's already a little cracked. You can kind of see that. I think I might keep that out. You know, 1 dozen, we only use half the eggs, so this will make 24 deviled eggs. My container that I have for the deviled eggs has about 18, so we'd make a few extra. So I'm just going to leave that one out. So I'm going to turn this up to about medium-high heat, and we're heating up now. You can kind of see it down there. We're going to wait for the water to boil, and then we're going to boil for 12 minutes, right? So 12 minutes is pretty standard. The next thing after we boil for 12 minutes, we're going to put them immediately in cold water. Why do you put it in cold water at the end? This is the secret, right? This is my mother's secret. We do that because if we don't do it, the egg yolk will kind of stick to the egg. There'll be like a little layer of skin around the egg. And if we don't do that, then the eggs will be almost impossible to peel. So as soon as we take them out, we're going to boil them for we boil for 12 minutes and we take them out, and then we're going to put them immediately in cold water. So now we just wait. Maybe I could do a little time lapse. Or maybe I could just do a little bit of movie magic and stop recording and then come back. Right? We could always do that too. All right. So our eggs are boiling. Our water's boiling, almost boiling. We're almost there. I'm just kind of looking into it. We've got a few bubbles. We'll just kind of let it go for a little bit longer, and then I'll start the timer at about 12 minutes. Now, as we boil the eggs, see, this is what I really like about chemistry and cooking. Well, cooking really is chemistry, right? I think the first thing they teach you in general chemistry, in freshman chemistry, is how to boil water, right? Which is what we're doing right now. And so if you don't know how to boil water, man, your life as a chemist could be a little difficult. But fortunately, most of us know how to boil water. It's pretty easy. Now we put the eggs in there. Now what are eggs, right? Eggs are basically undeveloped embryos. So these are chicken eggs. And there's actually several proteins in eggs. Now, what is a protein? A protein is a polymer of amino acids, and that basically makes up who we are and what the chicken is, and in this case, what the egg is. Now, the age-old question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, who knows, right? Obviously, you need an egg to grow into a chicken. These eggs, unfortunately, are not going to grow into chickens, right? But we've got to start with proteins. So we're going to start with proteins. Now, the major protein in egg, about 54% of the protein is ovalbumin. And then about 12% is ovotransferrin. That's also related. And ovomucoid is about 11% of the protein. So that's the major protein in egg. And what's happening when we boil the water and when we heat that up, we're actually breaking disulfide bonds between the proteins that are holding the protein together and allowing them then when the protein cools again, you say when we after we boil for 12 minutes, we're going to put in cold water, we're going to rapidly cool, and then the protein is going to rearrange and refold, right? We heat it up, the protein unfolds, we cool it back down, the protein reforms, but because of those disulfide bonds in there, the protein's not going to fold the exact same way, hence why you can't unboil an egg, right? So we can only boil the egg, we hard boil it, that way we get a nice hard shell. We're changing the structural characteristics of the primarily the ovalbumin protein, and then we can do things like make deviled eggs, for example, right? So that's the major protein in the eggs. Now there's other proteins. Another protein of interest is flavoprotein, and that flavoprotein that binds with riboflavin. What's riboflavin? That's vitamin B2. So that's that's an important vitamin. Flavoprotein also binds avidin, and this can bind and inactivate biotin. What's biotin? Biotin is vitamin B7. So vitamin B2, vitamin B7, these are both very important vitamins. And those vitamins are cofactors for enzymes, and they're important in the enzymatic pathways, mainly in glycolysis in the citric acid cycle. And they help us make energy. So hence, a lot of these vitamins a lot of these proteins will help us bind various vitamins, and that's going to help energy. Hence why dairy is actually very good for us. So a lot of these eggs are actually good things. The flavoprotein also binds lysozyme as well. Now lysozyme is an enzyme. This actually has lytic activity against bacteria, right? So that also is a very good thing. Another reason why you want to consume a healthy dosage of eggs, right? So let's see how we're doing here. And as soon as we kind of hit a nice rolling boil, I'm going to activate our timer. And so you can kind of see, I've got my iPhone timer here that's set at 0. What I really want is a nice rolling boil. I don't quite have that yet, but any minute now, it's actually going to turn on. I think I'm starting to see it just about now. I want a rolling boil. There it kind of goes. Let's see. Yeah, we're starting to see that nice rolling boil. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my iPhone, I'm going to hit start. We're going to boil for 12 minutes. And then we're going to put that in boiling water. Alright, so let's just check up on it here. We're at about 6 minutes now. So we're about halfway through. And it's still boiling well. Alright. So we're at about 15 seconds to go here. 10 seconds coming up. There's 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so that's 12 minutes. So now we can cut the heat right there. And now we transfer this over to the sink. Right? Now I will take my eggs and pour them in a strainer. And then, now it doesn't have to be super cold water. I like to put that on there. And that noise you just heard was me adding a little bit of ice cubes just for good measure. So now let's just let this sit for a while. And maybe about 20 minutes or so. My mother usually likes to do this overnight. I don't really have overnight right now, but we'll just let them sit in that water for a while and then we can peel them. Alright, so we've got our eggs. We've been sitting in cold water for a while. Now what we need to do, now it might be handy to just have a little paper towel and kind of dry them off a little bit. And now I have to peel them. Right. And watch how easy they peel. There we go. There's one egg right there. Now we need some place to put these. So I like a nice egg tray. That way you can put the eggs right in there just like that. So there's one egg. Now remember I've got 11 eggs and I'm short by one. I'm one short of a dozen. Some people may say that's a commentary on myself, but I digress. I'm always one short of a dozen, right? Whoa, almost lost that one. Almost became two short of a dozen, right? Alright. Now, interestingly enough, this is my mother's deviled egg recipe, so she taught me everything I need to know about making deviled eggs, right? Now, is my mother a great chemist? No, actually, she completely hated chemistry. She had to take it, of course. She was a registered nurse, and she worked in the ER most of her career. She really loved starting IVs. She was the IV queen. That's what she was known for. So she's retired now. She lives in Fountain Hills, Arizona. She spent most of her career at Johnston Lois Hospital in Richmond, well, I guess Midlothian, Virginia, outside of Richmond. So give a shout out to the good people at Johnston Willis. She also worked at Chippenham Medical Center, also in the Richmond area. I think that is in Richmond, a little bit closer to town. And then her and my father decided they wanted to retire to Arizona. They weren't quite ready for retirement yet. So they decided to move to Arizona, to Fountain Hills. She ended her career working at the Scottsdale Shea emergency room in Scottsdale, Arizona. Now she's happily retired, and she still occupies most of her time as a full-time quilter. So that is her other love, other than making really good deviled eggs. She's a very good, magnificent quilter. And I have too many quilts on the wall from my mother that she has made over the years. Alright, that's making a little bit of a mess, but we're almost done. This is getting a little bit damp. Almost lost another one. Yeah. And there's our last egg right there. And let's do a little bit of movie magic and clean this up. Isn't that cool how that works out? God, I love TV. It's wonderful. Now, the other thing we probably want to do is just, we've already kind of dried the outside of our eggs. We're just gonna dry the inside. I'm gonna just put them on a paper towel here. There we go. All right, so that should be fairly dry now. Okay, and We now cut them in half a long way, like this. Just like so. Now, you know what? We also need to get rid of the water. We need a place to mix our egg yolks in. And just gonna pop that in. This is the good stuff, right? All right. This one's a little bit, you guys still have a little bit of a buffer. Sometimes we get a few eggs that kind of pop apart a little bit there. This little yolk is the creamy part that everybody loves. We're going to add mayonnaise to that and a little bit of mustard. Those are the two prime ingredients right there. You always want to make sure you have enough of this stuff, though. Once you're out, you're out. And it is what we call in chemistry the rate-limiting ingredient. Right? The rate-limiting ingredient being you can only make so much, and that controls how much you're going to produce. As you can see, the egg whites, I've got plenty of egg whites, right? So, yeah, we're going to have 2 extra, right? So that is the excess of our egg whites there, right? So we got, but the inside is the rate limiting ingredient. It is kind of nice though, because that way we can, like this one's a little bit, that one didn't quite work out, so we're just going to discard that. Go. Here we are. And we got 2 extras. All right, I think those look fairly good. Right, and my extra. Well, so I'm not gonna eat that one yet. This other one, because in case one of these breaks during the process. The other one's already kind of broken, so we'll get rid of that. All right, so now we've got the egg white. All right, so now we are ready to start making. There's our egg yolk inside here. Just kind of come up a little bit. There we go. There's our egg yolk. And so now we need to add mayonnaise. and we need to add mustard. And so this is where the chemist in me kind of goes a little bit crazy, because there's no real secret level of the amount of mayonnaise we add. We kind of eyeball it. Okay. There is a very important step. I like to use Hellmann's real mayonnaise. You could use whatever favorite mayonnaise you've got. This is a fresh case of mayonnaise, a fresh jar of mayonnaise. We always used Hellmann's. It seems to work the best. Some people swear by Duke's. That's another popular one. We're going to start by measuring out 1 cup. So 1 cup is going to be about up to that line right there. Get a little spoon. And again, we just kind of eyeball it. Approximately 1 cup. Because this is kind of tough to measure. It's kind of a solid, gooey mess. Maybe a little bit more for good measure. Yeah, that's probably about right. This is what gives it. We're going for a nice creamy consistency here, so that's the important thing. So we're going to start with about that. And then the other ingredient is the mustard. We're going to use French's mustard. I think this is a very fresh thing of mustard. Need to just open this up, this out. French's seems to be a pretty good mustard. Again, I'm not endorsing any of these brands. We're just using it to, we're using our recipes. So that looks like a good amount right there. I think we're in good shape. Now we need to mash this together. I've got a masher. And what you want to get all the lumps out. And you want a really nice creamy consistency. Now, kind of mashed it. I'm just going to do a little stirring. creamy. There's a few things there. It is fairly nice and creamy. I want to try and get as much of this off the walls as I can. There we go. It's pretty creamy. Now, the nice thing about chemistry in the kitchen is you kind of test it out. Just do a little bit of a taste test. I think that tastes fairly good. You don't want to waste too much, but I think we're in pretty good shape, right? So now we just use a small spoon to put everything in. So we're just going to take a little bit of this. Yeah. Yeah. I think I had a little bit too much in that one. already starting to run out of this stuff. Like I say, the rate limiting ingredient is the yellow stuff. But that's the part everybody loves. The other nice thing about this is if you make this for a party, you're not going to have any left. It's really easy to make, it's really easy for people to eat. And whoops, I just lost one. Yeah, we're definitely running down to the bottom of the barrel here. Go. And, well, I guess I lost another half an egg. So now the best part, if you have kids, you can give them this. They'll love to take the leftovers, right? So we will rotate this side. And okay, so there's our deviled eggs. They're pretty much ready to go. I lost one, but you know what? That's the missing egg. Now there's one more ingredient. Before we do that, we'll just straighten that up just a little bit. We've got a little bit here we can fix. We can probably get just a little bit more there. There. Okay, I think it's about ready. All right. Okay. So there's our eggs. And there's one last secret ingredient. You want to know what the secret is? Okay, so this is my mother's secret. Paprika. So, and yeah, just a little. Now this, I always overdo this. You just use like a dash. That's too much. Yeah, I always overdo this. That is too much. It is very hard. My mother is the best at this. I think these two right here have just the right amount. This one is actually perfect right here. So there is our deviled eggs ready to serve. We can pop those in the fridge for a while, let them cool off. I probably overdid some of the paprika. Sorry, Mom. But, hey, she's the expert at this, not me. But we did all right. And there we go. There's our deviled eggs. Ready to go.